Good evening and welcome to Arizona Illustrated for Wednesday, the 19th of September 2012. I'm Tony Paniagua. Residents in Arizona and across the country are mourning the surprising death of one of the state's most famous sheriffs. Larry Dever had been elected 4 times in Cochise County, which shares more than 80 miles of border with Mexico, and he was a high-profile supporter of Senate Bill 1070. Political reporter Christopher Conover is here with some of the details. Christopher, this of course happened surprisingly last night. What are some of the details that you've been able to gather so far?
Sheriff Dver was up in northern Arizona, Coconino County, near Williams, and he was on his way to a family hunting trip when apparently the truck he was driving on a forest road, an unpaved road, rolled and he was killed in that accident. We don't have many more details on the accident itself. But that's what we know. His mother had died actually just a few days ago, so the sheriff's family has had a rough few weeks. He was, as you said, a big supporter of SB 1070 and actually was sitting here in our studios earlier this summer for a joint Arizona Public Media Washington Week town hall in the days following the U.S. Supreme Court's approval of SB 1070. And at the time, as he sat here, he defended to a national audience SB 1070.
In my 36 years in law enforcement, I've experienced or seen one claim of racial profiling. SB 1070 won't change that. And that claim was determined by outside independent investigators to be unfounded. SB 1070 isn't going to target Hispanics, people of color, anything. We are in the business of profiling in law enforcement, but it's criminal profiling. It has nothing to do about nationality, race.
Christopher, the Cochise County Sheriff's Department held a news conference earlier today. They're not saying a whole lot about the sheriff's death, but what are they saying about the funeral plans, if any, at the moment?
At this point, plans are pending. They're still working on it. The Dver family was still planning the funeral for Sheriff Dever's mother, so they have a lot going on. The one thing the Sheriff's Department did want to emphasize is just because the sheriff has died, someone is still in charge. The chief deputy, by statute, takes over in the event of a death or the absence of the sheriff.
And then prior to this breaking news last night, we had planned on talking to you today anyway about the update, the major update with SB 1070. What's happening in that area?
Yesterday, U.S. District Judge, Federal Judge Susan Bolton in Phoenix lifted the injunction on the final portion of SB 1070, what is officially known as 2B. Many people know that as the stop and check or papers, please portion of the law. And that was on hold. It is now in effect, which means when law enforcement officials come up and stop or have some sort of contact with someone they believe to be in the country illegally, they now have to get proof that that person is here legally. Big change, but everybody knew it was coming. We spoke with Tucson Police Chief Roberto Villasenor, and he had talked about the training his officers were going to receive and did receive in the run-up to this.
My officers have always been trained and have always conducted themselves professionally, and when they contact people, they're aware of the myriad of different areas and responses that could come from that contact. When the Supreme Court came down with their ruling, we took the elements of that ruling, did a review that was sent out to all officers, and today we're putting out a final PowerPoint review. Now that we know the final dissolution, there was no other changes to the decision, we're putting out a final PowerPoint review to each email of every employee, and we're putting it on our City Learn system so we can track and mandate that everyone reviews that training.
So lots of things are happening in the past few hours of the past day. There's also an update with the Fast and Furious case.
Exactly. The Inspector General's office from the U.S. Department of Justice has issued its report on the Fast and Furious investigation. Very lengthy report, over 500 pages when you total up all the appendices. If somebody does want to read it, it is on our website. But in a nutshell, what they said was there wasn't enough oversight, that Fast and Furious, the way it was designed, should not have happened. Interestingly enough, Attorney General Eric Holder has taken a lot of heat over this investigation. The report did not find him at fault, found 14 other people at fault, but not the U.S. Attorney General at this point.
All right, and once again, more information on our website, Arizona Public Media. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate
Thanks.
it. The high school dropout rate for Native Americans is almost twice the national average, and educators across the country are trying to change that. In Flagstaff, Arizona, they are having some success where you might not expect it. The Coconino County Juvenile Detention Center.
This is my cell right here. It's a little bit bigger than the other cells. That's because this one's a handicapped one, but I like it.
When Jay was caught doing meth at 15, he says he couldn't see past the drug.
I loved it. I loved everything about it. It was like the greatest rush I ever felt, all in one bowl, you know? I loved that I didn't have to eat. I loved that I didn't have to sleep. When the person that caught me said I looked half dead, and I remember telling her that she should have let me die because I didn't see my life clean.
At the time of the filming, Jay was clean. Jay, who didn't want to use his real name, has been 1.5 years in treatment and has been in and out of juvie. When he was first locked up, he weighed 108 pounds. Now, almost 18 and clean, he weighs 160 pounds.
I'm very nervous because I know the addiction is still in there, and I don't want to disappoint myself again. I always see myself doing good, you know. I always see myself, all right, this is last time. And then usually it ends up with me back doing it again.
And back in detention, but he's turning 18, which means if he's caught again, he'll be thrown in with adults.
Yeah, I want to be successful in life. You know, I want to make money the right way. I don't want to fail. I want to go to college. I want to finish high school first, go to college, and I want to be a paramedic because I want to help people. I look healthy. I look happy. You know, they see me. The staff that's been here, they know how bad it was. I'm doing this for me, you know. It's my life. This isn't how I want to be. You know, so I got to make the change for myself, and then I want to start helping other people change. Because I've been there and I've done that, you know. I'm one that can say, you know, I know how hard it is.
When arrested, kids go to school inside the jail. Teachers there give students a lot of individual attention.
Taped it and then put the capsule on top. Paper and pencil tests and exams don't work well. Hands-on works really well. So if you look around, it's rather than give them a quiz or a test, they have to build projects and explain those.
The students range in age from 10 to 17, and they are often 2 to 5 grade levels below their peers. But here they don't have many distractions.
No one's yelling at them, no one's beating them, there's no threats.
The staff often uses the term stabilized. They're sober, their needs are met, they don't have to worry about food, shelter, or clothing, so they're able to focus on learning. Holloway says most of these kids have had negative experiences in school. They didn't get the attention they needed, or they weren't identified for their needs, or they weren't recognized for their strengths.
Most of the time they're returned to the environment that created that behavior in the first place. But, you know, it's from a physics perspective, it's like a vector. So they're on one trajectory, and hopefully we can bump them enough. So they're similar, but hopefully enough bumps, and we've turned them. So it's going to be the centimeters on this one, too. Even though they're little.
Juvenile sentences are only a few weeks, so the staff has a small opportunity to make an impact on kids. But when they leave detention, many do stay in school. In fact, 80% are more likely to graduate, according to detention records.
What do you hope they walk away with?
The confidence and the knowledge of knowing that they can learn. That's probably our number one, is to turn them back on, maybe not to school, but to learning. When you turn 18.
Once the kids are released home, many attend the transition school to get caught up on credits they missed. The transition counselor, John Lee, assesses the kids and helps them find their talents.
To leave this place believing that they are good at those certain things. And so I feel like it's my job to really instill hope and confidence and self-esteem. So, because I'm not going to be there all, in their lives. So they need to leave on their own with that confidence.
Sometimes Lee will make a breakthrough with kids when he opens up about his own struggles when he was their age.
I was stealing. I stole anywhere. My parents owned a grocery store. I was stealing at different stores. I was stealing from my own parents, anywhere from $1 to $100 a day. I stole thousands of dollars from them. They had filed Yes, I did. They filed bankruptcy. I ran away from the cops one time. Got involved with some drugs.
Are these classrooms subjects are math and science?
It was around middle school and high school, which is a pivotal time in life, and I got connected with a church, and I met a few men that became my mentors, and they really poured their lives into mine and gave me hope and gave me the skills and the tools to succeed, and they were a huge part of my life.
This is our Bravo unit.
Detention manager Gilbert Contreras remembers that critical time when he was young.
A lot of the peers that I grew up with, are in prison and have very different. I think the difference for me is having those caring parents, and that provided some of that structure and provided me with those boundaries and some of those values that I needed to make sure that I ended up in the same place. But I was very fortunate, very fortunate. And sometimes it's not a matter of having those skills, but just luck in that you made the right decision at the right time. And some of our kids, they made a mistake. They made a poor decision. I would say 99.9% of our kids are not bad people. They just made a poor decision. And it is my hope, and it is our staff's hope, and it is our department's hope that decision isn't something that they end up the rest of their life paying for.
Contreras and other detention staff all agree the hardest part of their job is seeing kids succeed in detention, then regress to their old ways as soon as they leave.
One thing that we have to do as adults, and what we learn with working with really troubled kids, is that change doesn't come all at once.
Brian Mitsuda points to a long-term study by Emmy Werner and Ruth Smith that showed even troubled teens change. The two researchers followed the lives of 500 men and women who were born in 1955. A third were considered at risk. After tracking them into their 40s, they discover most become competent, caring adults.
Kids do grow up. Sometimes it's a long journey for some. Sometimes they do things that they're going to have to be in prison for, maybe in prison for a long time. But the great majority do grow and develop, and sometimes 18 for sure, what that great study showed, 18 doesn't mean that you're all grown up.
If only we could fast forward Jay's life to find out where he will be. Since the filming, he's been released from juvenile detention and has turned 18. Authorities have lost track of Jay, and he hasn't checked into school. They're concerned about a relapse.
Poetry can be enjoyed by readers and listeners of all ages, and sometimes children find ways to use everyday words that can astonish adults. The University of Arizona Poetry Center's Family Days Festival invites people of all ages to come together in celebrating the power and the joy of the written word. Mark McLemore and his guest tell us more.
And joining me now from the Poetry Center, we have Allie Leach, and she's joined by young poet Kieran Black. Thanks for joining us today, Kieran. So, Allie,
thanks for having us. Yeah.
Tell me about Family Days and where the Poetry Center's commitment to a project like this comes from.
Yeah, so the Poetry Center has a variety of activities. We have reading series, we have library exhibitions, we have classes and workshops, and so this is just another component, and it's really concerned about writing for all and writing for the whole community, for parents and their children. And we've been going, I think, since 2007, and we just have lots of cool activities. We have writing workshops, we have dance, art, music, yoga, story times, we have such a variety of activities for children and their families.
And this is an opportunity for the public to come and share in that, whether they've been to a Poetry Center event before or not.
Right. It's open to the whole community, and in addition to having all these great writing activities and things, we also have breakfast foods. So there's goodies and coffee for the parents and everything. So we have
a chance to get energized.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So tell me about the idea of the Poetry Joeys and what that represents at the Poetry Center.
Yeah. It's the great thing about Poetry Joeys and about Family Days is that all these activities are like a supplement to what kids get in the classroom. So We really try to emphasize having fun. You know, a lot of the writing activities that we do involve games and movement and music. You know, in addition to the students really, you know, writing and sitting down, we also just have them moving around a lot so that it's not like they're in the classroom being told what to do. It's that they're out having fun and, you know, making poetry really accessible to everyone.
Well, Kieran, tell me about your writing. What do you like to write about when you're doing poetry?
You know, one time when I was in the older kids, I got to write about this story about, like, how the animal got something.
Yeah.
I wrote this really good story about this eagle and how it got its beak, and kind of liked it, so, yeah.
It gives you a chance to let your imagination open up.
Yeah, a little.
What other ways do you engage, like after school and things like that? What other kind of creative activities do you like to do?
What do you mean exactly?
Well, we were talking earlier, and you said that you also do some drawing.
Right.
Right. So compare doing writing to doing art and how it like lets you express yourself.
Well, art, it's kind of like, I'm like drawing stick figures, so it's kind of fun. I mean, takes less time instead of having to do a whole bunch of detail. Sometimes I have to do some detail, but not that much, and yeah.
Well, it still lets you do some storytelling. So I know you brought a sample of one of your poems with us. Will you read it for us?
Okay. The snow sounds like an electric guitar. The snow looks like falling diamonds. Snow fall upon the hills.
And what was your inspiration for that?
It's hard to remember.
Yeah. Was there an instance when you were teaching at Poetry Joey's when you were just blown away by the creativity you were seeing on display?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, Kieran's poem is such a great example of that. Just, you know, when you think about the snow, you know, there's lots of kind of like cliches you could say about the snow, like the snow is white and it falls, but he says the snow sounds like an electric guitar, and you're drawn to that right away, and that it looks like falling diamonds coming from the sky. That's just, I'm always amazed how students like Kieran can take like an everyday object and just transform it into something that's out of this world and really magical and great.
Well, let's tell our viewers about Family Days and what they can expect. When is it going to be?
Yeah, so Family Days is this Saturday, September 22nd from 10 until 1, and we will have creative writing activities and workshops for toddlers all the way to 10-year-olds. And this year we are doing something different. We have a book club for kids who are 11 and older, and the book club is called Maximilian, the Mystery of the Guardian Angel, and we'll also have yoga, multilingual story time, art activities, writing activities, dance, everything, so it'll be fun.
Well, fantastic. Thanks for sharing that information with us, and Kieran, thank you for sharing your talent with us.
Thank you.
The Chinese Culture Festival in Tucson gets underway this Saturday, September 22nd, and it runs for a full week. You will get multiple opportunities to learn about the art, music, language, and other cultural traits of this large and ancient country. Next, we are joined by a University of Arizona professor who is also the director of the Confucius Institute in Tucson. With her is an intern at the institute who is taking Chinese classes. We spoke to them recently. Dr. Zhao Chen and Austin Davis, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
All right, let's begin with you, Doctor, if we could. So the Chinese Cultural Festival is about to begin in September. What do you want to tell us about this event?
This is the very first Tucson Chinese Cultural Festival. Will run from September 22nd to September 30. Almost every day you will see an event. And we have some large events. We have some lecture series. And you can check our email and also our address for the website, and which is confucius.arizona.edu. And for updated information, we have the flyers and posters on there.
Okay, and we'll talk a little bit about the events in a minute, but let's talk to you, Austin Davis. So you are studying accounting and finance at the University of Arizona.
That's right.
And then you also decided to study Chinese. How did this come about?
It was kind of one of those things where when I knew what I was going to do major-wise, I needed to pick a language. And after looking over the options, this one really stuck out because not only is China's economy booming and there's tons of opportunities for business there, but learning a language opens up so many doors to other cultures that would have been shut previously to that. So it was really a culture I wanted to learn more about.
And what has the language classes been like so far?
Intense. It's a lot of hard work. It's very time consuming, but I just want to stress the point that it's totally doable. It's just something you have to really want and work towards.
Okay. And Dr. Zhao Chen, if you could tell us a little bit about the Confucius Institute at the U of A. This is one of the, well, this is the primary sponsor of the festival, right? And then you are also working with other organizations.
Exactly, yeah. We're hosting all the events, but we have been working with university, department, colleges across the campus. We also been working with community partners to organize all the events. The institute was built based on the collaboration between the Hanban and Beijing and our university's commitment. So this institute started in 2007. But before we had a different director, we have different direction for this institute. Now is the turning point. So our mission is to enhance people's understanding and appreciation of Chinese language and culture.
Okay, and Austin, you are an intern at that institute. What are some of the responsibilities that you have there?
It varies week to week. They always have me doing new and exciting things. I've translated helped translate partially two children's books. In addition to that, last week and the week before, I was getting my hands wet, I guess, in the HTML. I was kind of updating the website, and that was something new. It's great because it's always something different. If it's doing a press release or some other document related to the website, I'm picking up many skills, and it's a great opportunity.
So if somebody is interested in studying Chinese and they think, well, you know what, French or Spanish would be a lot easier, what would you say to this person?
I would say don't pick a language based on how hard or easy it is. You need to pick it off what you want to do, what you're interested in. If you want to go to France, then you should probably learn French. I mean, there's no reason learning anything else. I wanted to go to China, so it's Chinese.
Okay, and Dr. Shen, we talked about the variety of events that are going to be available during this festival. There's going to be poetry, there's going to be music, a little bit of everything for somebody, right?
Yes, we're trying to develop a rich program and to meet everybody's interests and needs. So we started with opening day. It's called Chinese Health Day in Reed Park, and we're partnering with the College of Public Health to open this large festival. And then we'll continue with a series of lectures. There is a lecture on Chinese martial arts. There's a lecture on Chinese music. And also there's a lecture on Chinese movie and movie directors. We also have a lecture specifically focusing on Chinese archaeology. And then we have several large events after that. One is the Chinese Language Day. We're hoping to involve a lot of students from all levels and to compete and to get to know each other during that exciting day.
And you also wanted to mention the Chinese Cultural Center on River Road here. They're doing something special as well?
Right, and that same day, which is September 29th, they're also going to organize a festival dinner at 6 o'clock, so you may want to check it out for that, because that's close to the traditional Chinese holiday, which is the Mid-Autumn Festival. So the following day is exactly the day for the Chinese Mid-Autumn Festival, and we're going to have a concert, very, very, rich music from all different places in China to close this festival.
Okay, great. And Austin, we were talking prior to this interview about a major adventure that's coming up for you in 2013. You are getting your feet wet right now, but you're really going to plunge in next year. Tell us about that trip, please.
I'm very excited for it. I'll just have finished my minor next spring, and then right after that, I'll be on an airplane to China. There's a couple different programs I'm looking at. I haven't really established which one I'm going to do, but I'll be taking classes, and either in Shanghai or Nanjing, China, I'll be learning and getting to use my language, hopefully. And so by the end of the 3 months, I'm really hoping that I can be pretty proficient.
And eventually you hope to work in China at least a little bit in the future?
Yes, definitely. Hopefully in Shanghai, the financial district, I can get work at some of the financial firms there. and see what happens.
Okay, well, Dr. Zhao Chen and Austin Davis, thank you very much for joining us, and good luck with the festival and everything else that you're doing.
Thank you. I hope a lot of people will show up for the festival.
Right. Thanks.
Thank you.
The annual Greek festival in Tucson attracts thousands of visitors every year, and you can plan to attend this weekend, beginning tomorrow until Sunday, September 23rd. In tonight's video postcard from photographer and editor Jessica LaBarbera, she gives us a glimpse of the action from the festival in 2011. You can get more news and information on our website, azpm.org. To comment on any story you saw tonight, click on it online and go to the bottom. We can also be reached via Facebook and Twitter. Coming up tomorrow night, the growing economic clout of the Latino population, providing hope and services for the homeless, and the El Rio Theater Project is presenting one of Shakespeare's classics. I'm Tony Paniagua from all of us at Arizona Public Media. Have a great night.